there, boys and girls, welcome back to BackPocketGameReviews, and today we're going to talk about something that has absolutely nothing to do with games at all. We're going to talk about a current thing the FDA is in the middle of trying to do, which I horribly disagree with. I'm going to explain why. We're going to go from there. I'm going to talk about some terrible things in this video. So the FDA is currently wanting to ban flavored e-cigs. Saying that the fruit flavors appeal to kids, and that's why so many kids are vaping. So I want to be very upfront about this. The number of kids that are smoking, like currently smoking cigarettes, is down. And that actually corresponds with the trend of the number of kids that are vaping, which is up. So there are less kids smoking traditional cigarettes, more kids vaping. As a kid, you're gonna do the bad thing. We all remember as a kid, we do that thing that they don't want us to do, and they're like, no, you shouldn't do that. Who here as a kid drank at a high school party? All of you have your hands up. Don't lie to me, okay? I don't need this shit. So, with that in mind, they're saying that these fruit flavors appeal to high school kids, and that's why high school kids are getting into it, and adults don't need these fruit flavors. Well, right now I'm using Hawaiian Pog in my Juul-esque device. I did use a Juul. That Juul is part of what got me off of traditional cigarettes, and then I moved over to this guy, and now I'm slowly weaning myself down on nicotine. So, eventually, nicotine will no longer have its powers over me. I will be a free man, like Pinocchio. He's a real boy, but a free man and a real boy are like the same thing. So, as we're going into this, as I was saying, they're saying that it's too easy for kids to get them. Juul even decided to back down, and they pulled all of their flavors out of convenience stores. They will only be selling their fruit flavors online, and the FDA is still even stating that, hey, we're probably still going to ban these, even though you are taking a proactive standpoint. And Juul's even stated they don't really want to target kids. That's not their real basis. They want to target adults and get adults off of cigarettes. And then a lot of people bring up, oh, well, their old ads make it look like a lifestyle thing. I mean, look, I get it. I'm not the youngest, person out there. I'm 31, but those ads probably were more targeting people between the ages of like 21 to 35. The lifestyle ads that they showed weren't targeting like high schoolers. They didn't look edgy. They looked normal, like they would be in my age range. At least that's how I felt about it. Granted, we think everything appeals to teenagers these days. I mean, next thing you know, you're going to be like, oh, those Bud Light commercials, they'd appeal to teenagers because teenagers drinking. But we don't talk too much about that. We don't talk about kids drinking, even though we know that's going on. Hell, I will say this, though. I would be less disappointed in my kid if my kid came home and told me they vaped over smoking. I would rather them not do either. Look, if you never started smoking, don't start vaping. At least that's perfect world ideal to me. And I get it, as a teenager, you're gonna get offered stuff. I was going through a bad breakup. I was hanging out with one of my friends. Her name was Kat. And she goes, would you like a cigarette? I was like, sure. I was in a spot. A lot of stuff going on in my life. Started smoking. It was downhill from there. Now, you may wonder, well, since we're talking about gas stations and then pulling them out of gas stations to make it more inconvenient for kids to get them, I had this beard in high school. I mean, it was a goatee back then, like I left it as a goatee, but yeah, I rarely got carded. It really didn't happen much of ever, unless I were probably going to go buy beer, but I had a way around that, which we'll get to again in a minute. Just wait. So, as we're saying, you're always going to have those kids that aren't getting carded, and yeah, I do agree the gas station should be carding. Even though I'm the guy who gets lightly frustrated when I have to get my ID out, I'm fine with that if that's where your problem lies. But the more taboo we make something, the more kids want to do them. And keep in mind, though, e-cigs have been proven to be much safer than actual cigarettes. They're not healthy, they're just much safer than traditional cigarettes. Like, much safer, because there's no combustion, your chances of a lot of the diseases and chemicals, you're not getting any of the amount of carcinogens that are in cigarettes, so there's no rat poisoning, which is in a cigarette. 10,000 chemicals come out during a cigarette. You have 2 in an e-cig. Propylene glycol and vegetable glycol. That's it. That's all you got. Awesome, right? So, with this being said, the more we make something taboo, or the more we push against it, the more as a kid, the kid wants to do it. Didn't you go through a rebellious stage? I did. I had spiky hair, piercings. I was an angry child who played sports and skateboarded and worked. I know I'm like a fickle little enigma there when you talk about all that. So, it's really hard to kind of like explain, but the more as a kid you push against it, like, how do these people not remember this? Half these people probably either smoked as a teen or drank as a teen, so it's not like this is like, oh, I didn't know. Bullshit. Where's Kavanaugh at? Can't Kavanaugh talk about teen drinking? Shouldn't he know all about this? I mean, all I'm getting at here is, as a teenager, you do things that they don't want you to do. You're aware that they don't want you to do them, but that almost makes it more appealing to do. Does it not? And I feel like most people try to sweep that aspect of it under the rug. Like, and they don't want to talk about that they did it as a teen. How dare they? I did not do anything like that as a teenager. I did. I'm fine with admitting to this. I drank a lot in high school. I probably drank more in high school than what I did as the legal age. Crazy, right? Yeah, that's really disappointing now that I said that. So, going forward, there are always going to be loopholes too. Like, as a teenager, there was a way that I obtained beer without having to go in myself. And I would just pay a homeless man to get it for me. That sounds terrible, but him and I both probably had drinking problems at that age. Homeless man would go in, bring back my beer, and leave with whatever it was in whatever paper bottle that he had gotten. And I'm not doing this to say that this is right. I'm well aware that this is wrong. I even am telling you that this is wrong, but you can't make decisions for someone. If my son was drinking at a high school party, am I really going to lose it on him? No, I did the same thing. You do have to make your own mistakes. You have to make your own life choices. And the more you push against something as a parent or a authoritative figure, sometimes the more you can push them to what it is you're pushing them away from. And I know that almost sounds counterproductive, but that is the way teenage mind reads it. Hey, they're telling me not to do this, and they're not very cool, so let me do this because it's cool. Just explaining things. Don't take it as I just said your parents aren't cool. Maybe your parents are cool. Maybe your parents shotgun beers and go to Pound Town. Oh Lord, what is wrong with me? I'm gonna be a frat boy. I'm gonna be the new Logan Paul on YouTube. Not Logan, Jake. Logan's more hateable. So, all I'm getting at is the flavors aren't going to change much. Even if you pull the flavors off the market, kids were still smoking cigarettes back then. Granted, there was a small window where we had flavored cigarettes. There was an orange, it was like a mandarin mango, or a mandarin menthol mango. Really good. It was made by Camel. It was fantastic. But eventually those got pulled off the market, so flavored cigarettes only lasted like a couple of months. That's all that those really lasted for. But I smoked menthol, and I'll tell you this, had I had gotten the menthol or the tobacco ones of these, I probably would have started smoking again. Any of those tastes would have just been like, I need a cigarette, as I rip someone's head from their body. So I just don't feel that this is the place that the FDA needs to be involved. I love how we're cracking down super hard on the thing that is slowly killing cigarettes, but we're still okay with cigarettes? Because we're being fair, there was no real big crackdown on teen smoking. The Truth campaign started towards like the end of my high school, and the Truth campaign didn't really do much of anything. It's not, no one literally sees the Truth campaign was like, I decided not to smoke because of one of the Truth campaign commercials. Please, show me the person who felt that way. I'll wait. You can find them. We've had commercials since day one. Don't get me wrong, there's been some of the commercials where I've been like, oh, that's bothersome. Why would you show me that? Like the smoking will catch up to you and the dude's teeth are falling out. Yeah. I've been to the James Cancer Society Hospital and been shown people with their lungs removed from smoking. I still smoked. I don't think you understand the amount of addiction that's there have you already have started. And it's bad. Like, it's terrible. It sucks to be that kind of addicted. Not everyone will wind up that kind of addicted. It does feel almost like being a heroin addict. That's pretty much on par with how it is. I feel snappy and angry when I wasn't smoking for the first couple weeks. I'm alright now. I don't crave a cigarette. Like, even when I walk by someone smoking, I'm not like, oh God, give me one of those. I've always found the smell of cigarettes relatively disgusting. So that's never really been too much of a problem, except for those first couple weeks where it was like, oh God, can I have that? So, all I'm getting at is the FDA banning it isn't going to fix it. Because guess what? It's only banning it in like the Juul style devices. So like this, I'll still be able to go buy. Which isn't going to fix things, banning this. You're just now going to push them to other stuff. And when it becomes a, I can also make my own e-liquid, it's going to be really hard for you to ban it. I know people that I can buy e-liquid off of. I could go to several of my friends who make their own. I just don't. I prefer some of the other flavors, and some of them I think are a bit crazy. So, the friends, not the flavors. But, I mean, I can go get this and just fill it into this, and then I got this, which is just like a Juul. Just like a Juul. Granted, this kind of looks like a flash drive too. It's pretty tiny. So all I'm getting at is the more though we make something taboo or push against it, the more kids typically want to do it. It's called being rebellious, being an angsty teenager. That's not going away. Being a rebellious teenager is not something that's going to change. It's not something that's going away. Not every kid will be that way. I get it. There are plenty of kids I know that didn't smoke in high school. I'd probably say it was about half and half at one point. Yeah. Not everyone smoked regularly, and plenty of people didn't wind up addicted to it. I don't know why I did. Sorry. Can't give you an explanation on that. Guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments down below. I know this video might have been a little all over the place, but it was kind of me trying to drive a point on that we're probably attacking the wrong thing here. If you don't want your kids to do something, manage your children better. Don't blame everything but your parenting. And kids are going to do things that you don't want them to do, as we've stated. So, don't forget to give a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Also, if you're new to the channel, you can click that subscribe button. And stick around, I'll have plenty more content coming for you now that I'm finally feeling better. I was sick the last couple days. Sorry, I caught whatever it is my daughter had on Saturday night. And it's been a bad time. I still don't feel 100% today. So, thanks for tuning in. I'll see y'all soon.